Hello everyone, welcome to another segment of Balandeli Belanga. It's your host here, Hunga Umlandeli Belanga. I pray that you guys Nikrosega into the new year. I hope you guys are having a beautiful weekend. Truly, we are in the new season. It's warm. It's warm. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. We just came from the equinox, or our spring equinox, officially uh, taking us over into, or passing us over, or crossing us over into the new year. Of course, that again means the sun crossing the equinoctial line from the land of darkness into the land of light, or if I were to use the analogy of the teachings of mysticism, comparing it now to using, of course, the language of cosmobiology, or comparing what's happening in the celestial heavens to what's happening in the body, we would say the sun is crossing over from the lower self, moving to the higher self, or crossing over from the Sahu man to the spiritual man. In the Bible, we would say the crossover between the natural man, as Paul puts it, the natural man or the sinful man or the flesh, crossing over into the land of spiritual man. Of course, again, this further, or in a deeper aspect, from equinox representing the crossing over from the land of darkness, winter, into the land of light, or crossing over from the land down south, Egypt, or crossing over into the land of promise, Canaan. Of course, Canaan being the upper part of the body. Why is Canaan, or the land of promise, or the land flowing with milk and honey, the upper part of the body? Quite naturally, of course, all our vital organs are from the scales of Libra, the bowels, and the Bethlehem area, or the solar plexus area. From there, going up, anything from there below, going into the land down south, it's the land of darkness. This is where our vital organs are. And of course, to take it to the Lord's Prayer now, the that aspect of where that line would be, we align it to the scales of Libra, which is lead us not into temptation. And then the aspect of the Lord's Prayer above that, the solar plexus, which is give us this day our daily bread. What does that mean? Because we are looking at an interpretation of events of the northern hemisphere, so we just have to dial a few clicks back and align it to the southern hemisphere. Give us this day our daily bread. The solar plexus in the human body, the solar plexus being, of course, the area here, but at the back, because actually, before I even go there, what is the solar plexus? There's this understanding among some of us that these chakras, or these energy centers, are just ideas, or just things we call just things that are really not there. But in this, for example, in this case, the solar plexus is an actual place in the human body. The name solar, or soul, or soul, it's they've given it that name because, before I get there, that area that I showed, it's behind the stomach. It's a cluster, or a ganglion. That's what nerves that group together, that pass through each other. That's what they call them. A ganglion of nerves which intercept and intertwine, forming this ganglion, or this round body of tissue they call the solar plexus, or the inner sun, or the inner sun. The, it's given that name because of how the nerves where they meet now, where this cluster is, the nerves look like solar rays emitting from the sun, of course, in this case, because it's nerves going to other parts of the body, hence the name the solar plexus. But more traditionally, it's also called, especially if you look classical human anatomy, they'll also call it the celiac or the house of Bethlehem. Taking me back now to the same story now told in the heavens. It's the house of Bethlehem because the solar plexus connects us to harvest, or the womb of Virgo, or the bread basket of Virgo. The solar plexus pertains to, if you're in the north, it pertains to the time of August when they have their yearly fast. Sorry, they have their yearly harvest. It happens in August. The background constellation when the sun is rising in August is who? It's Nomkhubulwane, Virgo. And so that is where their solar plexus would align. We've got many names: Nomkhubulwane, Isis, Usisi, Ceres. There's many names, but that is the idea that the ancients had, that when we harvest, this is the star cluster that is there. This is the symbol that will tie that star cluster into what is happening in the ground. And of course, now for the south, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. Virgo for us. If you don't believe me, use the apps and check it out for yourselves. The only thing is that you might not be able to see it because in the south, in March, or in the month of Ndasa, is because sometimes, because the stars that are said to be fixed, they are also moving. So in this current epoch, in the morning, you might not see Virgo, but she is rising because the sun is risen. You might not be able to see it, but if you want to see it, especially now, if you look west, at sunset, you will be able to see the celestial virgin. You can use software, of course. You can use software. We're in the age of technology, so use what you will to actually tie together what I'm trying to present to you. So this time, of course, for us, it happens in March, in the month of Ndasa, which means our solar plexus is when it is at that equinox. That would be our solar plexus. March would be our bread basket. So yeah, that's just a little bit on where we came from, or where we are as far as this understanding of the solar plexus. So yeah, we just came from the equinox. Yeah, that's what actually I want to talk about today. We just came from the equinox, and of course the name equinox, equi meaning equal, nox, noichi meaning night. It's the day of equal day and equal night. This thing lasts about 2.5 days, rounded off to 3 days. In the allegories of scripture, in our oral traditions, yeah, the number 3, the resurrection after 3 days, is actually a process, or a slow movement of the sun that happens, or which actually looks like the sun is not moving for about 2.5 days, until the sun crosses over, or passes over victoriously into the land of spring. Now we have this cool story in the book of Joshua, where the scripture says Joshua, in the heat of battle, he goes out there and he says, "Yay! Sun and moon, stand still while I slay my enemies." I remember a few years ago reading an article where these scientists were like, yeah, maybe Joshua did command the sun and the moon to stand still because the sun has lost speed by such and such a figure, which translates roughly to about a day. And hey man, if you want to go for that, hey, if you want to believe that someone actually commanded the sun and the moon to stand still, go for it. I'm not against it. I'm not, but there's more to it. As abalandeli belanga, we always hold to the idea that there's more to it. And the meat for me, particularly in this section, comes from, so Joshua commands the sun and the moon to do what? To stand still. That is the equinox. That is equinox talk, guys. That is equinox talk, because the ancients held that On equinox, the sun is said to what? It is neither going up or neither going down, which the first movement starts happening. It happens on the 23rd of September for us going into spring, which is the first degree in the sun's travel. Remember, 21 and 22, it's standing still the 2.5 days from the 23rd. That is the first degree out of that equinox, or the first degree out of the land of winter and into the land of summer. So now we're going to go into the body now. We're going to go into the body. So now, that round cluster of this twin cluster bundle of nerves, or called the ganglion. It sits behind the tummy. They call it the soul or the solar plexus because it looks like the sun, because the nerves moving from that area spiraling or radiating outwards, it looks like the sun. Now, attached to that body is the moon, or the organ that actually looks like the moon. They call it the semi-lunar ganglion. Of course, again, ganglion, it's a cluster of what? It's a cluster of nerves. The other cluster is round, it looks like the sun. They call it the solar plexus. There's the other one attached to the very same one, but now this one is also attached to the vertebra and the spinal cord. It's a semi-lunar ganglion, and that one, of course, becomes the moon. Now, below this phenomenon, that is where we put the median line or the transverse line, which separates the land down south and the land up north, or the line of the body which separates the ebb man, the lower man, which separates the ebb man from the Sahu man, or which separates the spiritual man from the man of flesh, or from the natural man, as Paul puts it, or which separates the land of Egypt and the land of promise, or the land of Canaan. So now, the upper half of the sun and moon, it vibrates to who? The ebb man, the spiritual man. And the lower half vibrates to who? The animal man. And so what this verse is actually saying is that now, in the spring, in that equinox. Now, take it back just to the mystical understanding now of the seed or Joseph, which of course in our celestial heavens, it's the sun. As above, so below, as within, so without. There is a sun that we have in the heavens. There is also a sun, or the seed, or a happening within the cerebrospinal fluid. There is a happening there which is called the birth of the seed, or the fluids that enter, or the manna from heaven that enters the body, crystallizing in the claustrum. The claustrum, from where the names such as Santa Claus or Santa Claus, claustrum. It gets there, and then as it's journeying its way down, remember Jesus, he goes down where? To the land of Egypt to hide from who? To hide from the Herod, to hide from desire. So this is where now the seed is saying, sun and moon, stand still, or desires of the lower man, stand still, so that I may what? I may cross over. This is also allegorized as Moses crossing the Red Sea with the children of Israel. It is also allegorized as Lot leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, because the solar plexus area also pertains to the bowels area, or the hell, where there is brimstone and burning of sulfur. That is where hell is. And so it is that story of crossing over from the lower man to the spiritual man, or run or moving away from that area of burning. But now for you to be able to move away, you need to be able to tell the animal man to stop. Cease. Do not continue, so that I may what? So that I may be able to cross over. I'm able to cross over. Sun and moon, stand still, that I may be able to cross over on my journey to where? To the pineal gland. Of course, before getting to the pineal gland, we go through Golgotha, the crucifixion. The sun goes through, biblically, the sun goes through two crucifixions. The son is crucified at Golgotha, and the son is also crucified in Egypt. I can't remember the exact verses. So yes, the seed or that fluid is saying, sun and moon stand still. Now the word Gibeon or Geb, or Magebula, yes, pertaining to the soul, that actually means a mound, or an elevated place. So we have now Joshua saying, or the seed saying, sun and moon, or animal nature or animal vibration of the solar plexus, imani, ukudla, the digestion, the hellfire and the brimstone that goes on down there, imani, so that I may what? So that I may pass. The desires again, or the desires of the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, being our appetites that affect how our digestive system, how our Sodom and Gomorrah works. Some of us not some of us, we are swayed by these desires of the inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah, being your bowels, your solar plexus, or what you ingest, which is what is digested there. So what happens there, the acidity there can actually kill the seed. It can actually kill the seed. If the seed dies down there, then it does not get back to the pineal. It does not climb the staircase that Joshua saw, the staircase between heaven and earth. Your body, your vehicle cannot be rejuvenated. That is what it means. So sun and moon cease to dominate over the spiritual forces while I slay my enemies, or slay the animal nature, or animal nature stand still, that I may do what? That I may pass. Now, where is the moon standing? The moon is standing in the valley called Ajalon, Jaya, Di, Jo. Of course, Ajalon meaning a valley in Hebrew, a valley in Bethlehem, sorry. Where is Bethlehem? Bethlehem is the solar plexus. Bethlehem is the house of bread, the house of harvest, like I've just said. To add on to that now, the south salt, because we cover the celestial heavens, we cover the body. We try and keep it holistic. And so the south salt, or the food source now that you are dealing with at the solar plexus, it is the south salt, or the inorganic south salt of salvation, Kali sulf, or better known as sulfate of potassium. The foods now that pertain to that area of the solar plexus is, I would say, the green, but not the dark green, like the spinach and cream, or the okra type green. Yes, not the Morocco deeper green, those types of lighter greens. So that is where now you will get the vitamins, minerals, and everything that pertains to the solar plexus. And yes, guys, the evolutionary journey of light coming down, as represented in that the chakra light spectrum, is different when now we are dealing with that light spectrum now expressed in a solid form. When we get there, the colors become what? They invert, because it is no longer the journey down, but it is the evolution, or this is the evolution, it is the involution. And so the colors in the physical sense, they are swapped around. So even though the solar plexus is a bright yellow in the chakra system, but in the food system we're working towards your green colors. We're working towards your green colors. So yeah, that is yeah, phosphate of what Caliphos, yeah, Caliphos. And yeah, if you want to, if you prefer getting supplements for this, you can go to your any pharmacy, no, not any, Discam and some pharmacies that actually sell you sell salt. But of course, it is better to get it in its most natural state. But I understand that some of us we become so sick that we cannot actually absorb some of these nutrients, and we end up having to rely on multivitamins. But yeah, that is what that pertains to. So yes, sun and moon stand still. That is the equinox. That is what the allegory is talking about. That is what the allegory is talking about. Nothing more than that. And so yeah, that's the lesson I had for us today. Yeah, I've tied up the solar plexus to the zodiac, which is of course Virgo. When we are in the harvest in March, if you want to see the Virgin, you can check in the east. Check in the east before sunrise. You will be able to see parts of the Virgin. I suspect this part, but if you want to see the Virgin in its entirety in the night sky, look west at sunset, and you will be able to see the Virgin. You'll be able to see the Virgin. So yes, that is Unga here, guys. Abalandeli belanga. Happy New Year, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your week.